Oftentimes in video games, developers create spin-offs towards their franchises. They can either result in something worth playing or just turn into other crap. One game in particular I would like to talk about is Mortal Kombat Mythologies Sub-Zero for the PS1. This game was developed and published by Midway Games and released in 1997. Instead of being a fighting game, this one was a 2D side-scrolling platformer, featured Sub-Zero as the protagonist, and has other Mortal Kombat characters in the game as well. Now, with all that said, even though this game is not a traditional fighter in the vein of Mortal Kombat, is it still worth a purchase? Well, let's not waste any more time and let's dive right in. Now, the first thing I'm going to talk about are the controls, because that's the first thing that really bugs me about this game. Everything feels so stiff. If you've played Mortal Kombat 3, you should be very familiar with the controls in terms of how to fight, because everything is still aligned the same. You still have your high punch, your high kick, your low punch, your low kick, your block button, and all that. But here you have a turn around button, which is very weird because enemies like to jump around a lot, and you have to press the button in order to turn around. But it's just weird. It should be like if I move left, I automatically turn around. Just like in the Mortal Kombat games. I don't know why it's different for this one. It's just very weird to me. Another thing I'm going to have to note about this game is the difficulty. There are so many things that are out to kill you, and just one mistake and you lose a life. I mean, in the options menu you can adjust how many lives you have and the amount of continues, but it still doesn't help. One thing I do like is when you fight enemies, you gain experience points, and when you gain these experience points, you gain your special abilities that you can use in Mortal Kombat, such as you learn Sub-Zero's Ice Throw, his Slide, and other signature moves that he does. Personally, I like this as you get stronger and better, and the better you fight, the better combos you pull off, the more experience you get. And that's a pretty cool thing to give an RPG element into a platformer. Along the way you pick up items, and these items will help heal you during the missions. This is actually pretty cool. In order to collect the items is very difficult though, since you need to be in just the right position. Just like you have a specific button to turn, you also have a specific button that you use to collect items. Now, I understand that some of you watching this video are probably going to say that this is not a platformer, it is in fact an action adventure. And while you are correct, for the main part and for the most of the gameplay, you are going to be dealing with platforming. And to be honest, this is some of the worst platforming in any game ever, period. The reason why is because of how stiff it is. Actually, it's just because of how finicky the controls are. It's very sensitive, a little bit too sensitive. If you just tap the up button just slightly, you'll go flying up in the air. And sometimes you don't want to do that. The main problem is you can't control yourself in the air all that well. It's like just one tap in the up in either direction. It's very hard to control yourself. One notable thing about this game is the use of FMVs. This is during the time when FMVs in video games was like the future. Everyone thought that FMVs were gonna just take over, and that was how all cinematics were gonna be in the future. And this is one of the games to showcase it. And honestly, it looks pretty good. It's visible and you can tell what's going on, unlike other FMV games on the PS1. It looks very crisp, it's very detailed, and it's pretty cool. These cutscenes are a bit cheesy, but they are unintentionally funny as hell. You can just come, bring a couple of friends, and just watch these cutscenes. It's funny just to see how serious these guys are, and it's just hilarious. Just go on YouTube, search up these cutscenes, and thank me later. Overall, there's not much else to say. I mean, there are a few cameos from the Mortal Kombat cast, and I can talk about the story, which is pretty much bad. There was a lot of ideas, some good ideas, some bad ones, that were in this game, but overall the execution was just poor. Minus some hilariously bad cutscenes and some cool concepts in this game, there's not much holding it. So with everything said, Mortal Kombat Mythologies Sub-Zero gets a 5 out of 10. It pretty much just boils down to an average game. I mean, the combat's a little bit fun, RPG elements are pretty interesting, and the items you grab are pretty cool, but the platforming, the controls, and all that is the reason why this game just falls flat. I'll only recommend this to Mortal Kombat fans, and if you like what you see here, I guess, go ahead, try it out. But other than that, I can't really recommend this wholeheartedly. If you guys enjoyed my video, please support me on Patreon. If you guys donate a certain amount of money a month, I'll give you a couple rewards, an autograph from me, a few things. Just click on the link on top and below. And this is Pow3rh0use signing off.
Yeah.